Hi, everybody. Just wanted to check in and see how we're doing and run through a quick live if we could, just to keep everybody on track in terms of where we're going and maybe any adjustments that people have when it comes to these with the plan coming up. So it looks like we are live and ready to go. I'm going to go over a couple things and then I will get into any of the comments and answer any questions I could if I have the answer. We're getting closer and feeling as good as we can about the plan in terms of how it was developed in this point, but also want to make sure that everybody got the information that they needed when it came to the work that we were trying to get out there. So that's where we're at, and I'm just gonna kind of give you a little quick update as to where we are, and then I'll start answering some questions. So you should have received the video and the plan, the Cricket Comeback Plan. I have it right over here. I just if I'm looking away from the screen, I have it on my screen over here just to make sure I could reference it if anybody has any questions. But so you should have received the video and the plan, and then we also added a frequently asked questions piece. And so what we've been doing is we're going to try to add to the frequently asked questions piece of this, and some of those will adjust honestly as more information comes to light, and as we feel comfortable in terms of what we're going to do specifically with the 4K through 5 virtual Cricket Online plan, because that continues to evolve, and we're really trying to figure out what the best way to educate that group is, while still trying to stay connected to our staff, but at the same time balancing it with if our elementary staff is here 4K through 5 on site 5 days a week, as traditional as traditional as we could be in the past. What kind of time commitment is there to add the virtual component to what we're looking at? And we want to make sure that we don't throw way too much on their plates as well. So if we can find another opportunity just to make sure that they're still connected, but at the same time willing to still stay connected, but give those kids what they're really looking for, we're going to do the best that we can to do that. So that plan came out on earlier this week, and everybody should have that. Parents, you will also receive an email tonight after we're done here that will really help us out in terms of a commitment to where we're at when it comes to the online piece, so we can solidify our numbers at each level and make sure that we're planning accordingly to that. So that's about where we're at, and hopefully we can continue to make this model evolve a little bit. The middle school and high school are on an A/B rotation, with 2 days being on site and 3 days being virtual. Those are again in the email that will come out tonight. We ask parents if there are any accommodations that we need to make in terms of family, a parent or guardian, employment, transportation, that kind of thing. We're really going to try to be accommodating while trying to keep the groups consistent, and that's going to prove to be a difficult task, but one that I know that we're willing to do. So I am going to just keep this thing open and answer any questions that people may have. If I can turn this down, but it looks like we have about 43 people watching or so, and if you have any questions that you want to throw in the chat, I will do that, and I'll stick around as long as you need me to tonight and answer as much as I can. If I don't have the answer, I'll figure out a way to get it to you. If you emailed me or called me and I didn't get back to you, please resend that email. We're not trying to avoid any conversations, but we just got a barrage of emails early, and if I didn't get to yours, please make sure that you resend it so I have that, because we want to make sure that you get what you need out of this situation too. So that's where we're at. I'm just going to wait on the chat to see if there's anything coming in through the chat, any questions coming in through the chat, and answer as best that I can. Remember that you can go to the school closure page on our website, and that has a frequently asked question and answer section that we're going to continue to add to. Hopefully the 5-minute video gave you a little indication about where we're at and how we're feeling about things, and gave you a little context to how we got here, because we certainly wanted to make sure that you didn't think that those decisions were made in a vacuum. We tried to keep everybody that we could in mind in that regard, and I hope that we did. This is one of the things that I said in the email to parents that you received, is this is not a perfect plan at all. It has holes. It absolutely has holes. I believe it's the best that we have at this point. We're going to implement it the best we can with incredible people and go from there. But is it perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And if there are things that we missed in the plan as we got our head down moving forward, and you notice those, please let me know. Let me know how it goes. So let's get that rolling. Question coming in about football. Right now, we're adhering to the WIA guidelines when it comes to the high school. We are taking a look at what middle school is going to look like, and the reason that we didn't put 6-12 in that document saying we're going to adhere to WIA guidelines 6-12 is that we wanted to have some flexibility when it came to the beginning of the football season. So because the WIA guidelines, stipulate that we couldn't start till the beginning of September, our middle school team was scheduled to start the last week in August. So we're still hoping that can happen, and that's what we're planning on at this point. Keep them coming. Keep coming. I'm just going to get a drink of water real quick. Hold on just a second. All right. Good. Now I got water. Now we're good to go. It's good. Now I got all the answers for sure. Whatever you need. We got it all. A couple other things that we've been talking. We had our elementary, mid school, and high school staff meet with their administrator today. And the conversations from talking to the administrative team after those meetings took place, the conversations were really, really productive and really positive in that we don't have all the answers, but the things that people are bringing up, I think, are really, yes, it is water, I promise, is the thing that we're trying to bring up is try to get through all of the situations that we don't know the answer to at this point, but also make sure that we have that information out there so we can be exploring, any solution to what we have going on. So that's why we need your help too. If you feel like we missed something and we didn't think about a certain group or entity or whatever, please just let us know. And if I don't have the answer, I'll just tell you, you know what, I'm sorry we missed you. That was a hole, and we apologize. But we're going to be as honest as anything with this, and just let you know that this is where we're at. So question is there a page or app to familiarize our kids with the online format? There will be, Rebecca. There will be. We will have some tutorials set up for both groups, and that's that's kind of where we're at right now. So we will have tutorials set up for GradPoint and whatever we decide at the 4K through 5 level. That we can do that. So that's certainly something that we're committed to make sure that you as a parent have everything that you need when it comes to the distance learning piece of it. The next question, Nathan, is about is there a plan to help distance learning kids see or connect with their teacher or friends? The balance that we have to keep in mind is that when it comes to the distance learning specifically at the younger levels, they more than likely won't be working with the teacher that they've been assigned to this year for the school year. We don't know if that's going to be done through an online platform or if we're going to have one of our staff members dedicated to the virtual learning piece of it. So that could be a struggle to make sure that they're connected to that instructor, though, because that instructor may not be the one that they are interacting with for the most part. When it comes to their friends, so we can certainly set up opportunities to think about what that looks like, but I really don't know if we're choosing the online piece of it. I don't know how that I guess it would depend on the level of interaction that the parent is looking for. If they've chosen the virtual option because they feel like the building isn't in a place that we could distance or was clean enough, or are concerned about that, that's a different story than we just felt more comfortable online and we want to connect with some kids at school. So certainly something we're looking at, and I appreciate the question. I don't have the answer, Nathan, but I will have the answer for you. Will the decisions on the cricket comeback be reevaluated at some point to see if the 6-8 students can go back full time? From Danielle. So the answer is absolutely. I want to be really, really clear about this plan, and that is that we're on option 3 of the plan that we really wanted to be on option 1 with the plan. Our intent was to have everybody here on site. There's no question about that. If we can socially distance enough and make sure that that kids could spread out, and we could have that as a big piece of what we're doing based on what county and state guidelines are, we would have kids on site tomorrow. That, like, we feel comfortable in terms of the instruction piece of it, but there's just a space issue that we can't contend with. And when we got to the second piece of it, option 2, the determining factor for not going to the K8 versus the K5 on site was simply space. And the alternative was to move a group or two, a grade level or 2 off site, and then keep everybody else here. And if you have 2 of those grade levels off site, we didn't know if it was worth that piece of it at this point. Having said that, we will continue to reevaluate it, and when there's opportunities and when the guidelines allow us to, we will absolutely look at how we're going to bring back more kids to the space when we know we can do it safely and appropriately from a county and state distancing guideline. Absolutely. Who will be in A group and who will be in B group, and how will those be determined? Take a look at your email tonight. All parents, take a look at your email. It gives you a little more indication of how those groups are going to be determined, and whether or not, if you need an accommodation, let us know. But we're really on a numbers game, to be very honest, when it comes to what, groups A and groups B. And we're going to try to make sure that we make the accommodations for people who need help when it comes to employment and transportation, and those 2 things in particular. As I mentioned on the frequently asked question component, we're really trying to avoid all my friends are in this group, so I need to be in this group. If we can make accommodations happen for families that really need them when it comes to safety of students being at home at a certain time, we're certainly going to do that. And those will take precedent over making sure that friendship groups stay together. And that's just how we have to start doing it. Honestly, that's a really bad answer, because we want them with their friends, but at the same time, it is a numbers game when it comes down to how many people we can have in each space. Is the school supply list on the website updated? It is, but give it a couple days, because there are a couple things that are going to be taken off of there. Clorox wipes and Kleenex are the 2 things for sure that are going to be off the list. We're going to take care of those here. We have a standing order. Every time the truck drops stuff off, we have an order ready to go to make sure that we have enough cleaning supplies here on site. So those are 2 things that I know are going to be pushed off to the side, but those will be updated within the week, and hopefully by next week we'll have the updated list. They're not going to change substantially. We're trying to pare those down, honestly. We're trying to pare those lists down so you don't have to get a lot of extra stuff. And when it comes to like the field trip money, that's going to be pushed off to the side. And any of the materials that we have here, we're going to make sure that we utilize those first, so you're not burdened as a family with that added expense. Jim asked, why did you get rid of the day during the week to clean and disinfect? And I think you're specifically speaking to the elementary piece. So what we have found, or what we believe, is we will be able to clean the elementary school during the evenings when kids are not there. We have the Wednesday dedicated to the middle school and high school to push all in for that, but we'll be able to clean after school on the 2 days plus the weekend. We should be able to clean the facility in that time. The other thing that came into play when it came into 5 days versus 4 days with the elementary group is we were really trying to be cognizant of making sure that we could have kids in a situation that we can control. And if on the 5th day that those groups are now dispersed to different daycares or different family members or left at home, we wanted to make sure that we could control what we can control, and having kids on site for 5 days we felt was in our best interest to do so. So that from a germ standpoint, from a supervision standpoint, we just felt like that was the best option. How will cleaning be managed between AM and PM 4K? We'll work with the teachers to make sure that they have everything that they need, and we'll have custodians that are ready to clean, in that time in between. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but after talking to our staff and from a custodial standpoint and from a teaching standpoint, we do believe that we can get those rooms cleaned the way that they need to be prior to the second group coming in. Question about the wearing masks on the playground with friends. We believe, like, if you're outside, going by the order about masks pertains to indoors, and we're asking kids to distance outside, still play, but distance as much as they can, and we want kids outside out of masks, honestly, because we want to make sure that they have time out of masks. So we'll be taking breaks. Julie Thompson last week had mentioned, setting up breaks for kids to take mask breaks outside through the 28th, and that is absolutely something that we'll do. We'll continue to reevaluate how that's working and how we can get them more breaks. But once that order is lifted, there will be time on site, in the classroom without masks if we're able to socially distance enough. Will there be structured classroom time for middle school virtual learning days? Kristen, I think, please tell me if I'm wrong, are you referring to what the days will look like when they're not here? So if they're here on site AB, you're referring to the virtual time that they're off site Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, not the complete online virtual learning days. If it's the off-site learning Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if they're on-site Monday, Tuesday, then the answer is absolutely yes. Okay, great, got you. So yes, there will be some structure to what that looks like, and our staff is working on how to make sure that we can maintain that structure when kids are not here. So yes, absolutely yes. We will have structure to that. It's different when it comes to the 100% online time, because that's actually going to be more driven by the course, by the grad point course, and a little bit more self-paced. If we're going to go by the order and the child has a medical exemption, will they be exempt? If the order indicates that medical exemptions are allowable, then absolutely, we'll adhere to the order. I think I'm trying to be as transparent as I can, and this may not be the most popular opinion, but I'm not a mask guy for little kids all day. At the same time, I understand the situation that we're in, but I do believe they need time out of masks. I really do. And if we can distance them and they're not in masks, so they're not within 6 feet of people, then we're going to do that. So keep them coming. I'm here and listening. I still think I should probably put some music on in between questions, because you gotta go Cricket sign. That's a good thing, right? I think I got all those questions so far. I've talked to, just in regard to the cleaning as well, we've talked to Brian Holman the last couple days about what that's going to look like. And we're on the same page when it comes to making sure that we get not only the rooms clean, but clean in a way that into the building, all higher quality air coming from outside in, all of those things are at the forefront in terms of what we're doing. Shay's asking about parent volunteers. Thanks for asking. I don't know the answer to that because we're really trying to limit the number of people in the building, and if we can have more consistency in terms of what that looks like, it's going to be a switch because we want parents in the building all the time. Like we have probably to a fault want people here all the time to be part of this community, and that's going to look different when we start the year, honestly, because the building is going to be locked down. It just is, and we're going to send kids out and have you meet them outside just to make sure that we can limit the exposure inside the building. So at this point, I'm actually say wait to hear from your child's teacher because I don't know how many people we will need, but we're looking for some consistency when it comes to that. What about meal times? We will still serve breakfast. We'll still serve lunch. We're going to use the same spot that we use. We're just going to have more tables spread out so they're able to eat. Will the virtual program be pre-programmed material or follow what their class is actually doing? It's going to be a different based on, we'll have a structure put in place. I guess, Katie, you're referring to, again, that blended model. The blended model will have a structure to it, and the teachers at each grade level will determine 6 through 8 in particular, or 6 through 12 now that I think about it. 6 through 12 will determine what that looks like and make sure that all of the kids know what that looks like prior to beginning. So there could be some pre-programmed material like a video that they need to watch and an activity that they need to do, and then when they come into the classroom, it would be more discussion on what they learned through that video and through that activity. It could be things that they're watching on that day. It could be both of those things, but we're going to let our staff determine what that looks like. Having said that, there will be some consistency to what it looks like. Jim's, asking about will there be more teachers or staff outside monitoring the kids to ensure that social distancing is happening? Yeah, we'll have more people on staff. I think one of the things that we really need to be cognizant of, though, is one of the things that we put in the model was that we want to make sure that it's an emotionally safe and responsible situation as well, and telling a student that they can't play with this person or that person, I think is doing a lot of emotional harm that we don't want to do either. So we're still trying to figure out a way to distance groups, keep them in their cohort. They might be playing together in the classroom, and then they would be playing together on the playground, but they'd still be in the same cohort of people, of kids in that model. Crystal's asking about the sensory issues of kids wearing masks at the elementary level. We'll handle that on an individual basis, but at the same time, the order does give some flexibility in terms of kids who are struggling from a sensory perspective. Jenny asked about the sporting events. That what is being done at school. That is all determined by the WIAA when it comes to the high school, Jenny. Julie says that it'd be helpful to have staff have lunch catered for them. That's a great question. I don't have the answer to that. I'm sure it would be helpful. Doable, no, but helpful, absolutely. Yeah, Jenny, that's a great question. She asked, how are you going to distance kids on the playground realistically? And the answer is, I think we're going to keep them in their groups and allow them to play in their groups. But saying that they're going to be distanced that entire time is completely unrealistic. That's not what's going to happen. And so if we can keep them in their cohort groups playing together, I think we mitigate the risk in terms of what happens in that space. So. Yeah, we're going to do the best that we can, but we also know that they have to be they have to be kids outside too. So I don't disagree with that, but we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to play too. Middle school cross country, we're still looking. That's why we pulled the 612 out of the piece that was attached to the WIA and only made it the 912 because we're still planning on starting that when it was supposed to start. I believe, don't quote me, but I believe August 24th. I believe it's the last week in August, I believe. Mike's asking about if they have sports in the district, the WIA can still limit all parents. The WIA, yes, that is 100% accurate. We're still waiting for some guidance on them. So, a question about if one person in the classroom tests positive, what is the action plan for that classroom? If one person tests positive for COVID-19, the process is actually started by the Eau Claire Department of Health, and they will make the contacts when it comes. They may contact us to see who's come in contact with that individual. So that the thing that we need to be cognizant of there is what we're trying to do is keep the group smaller, and even within the group, keep that group in a small group, because if one person A tests positive, then the contact tracing process through the Eau Claire Health Department, if I'm understanding it correctly, would then go to anybody who they've been in close contact with. And that doesn't mean automatically goes to the whole classroom. It means who they may have been working with for 15 minutes per day within 6 feet. And that's why we're trying to lower the number of students that would be in that situation. Sarah asked if parents, if with the in-person learning, if they're asked to fill out a form every day for their students verifying their health, is that instead of temp checks? Right now, that's the process. So we have to trust I think we have to trust people and understand that if you're certifying that your student is able to come to school at that day, that you need to adhere to this list of things and sign off that those things have been done. And we're still working on what that plan looks like, and we'll continue to take guidance from the health department. At this point, when I talked to the health department about what that looks like, I felt like they were on board with what that was. If they're not, then that may change. Sorry if I'm looking down. I just keep trying to make sure I get all the questions right away. Oh, Melissa, I'm sorry. I missed your question. I'm sorry. Will kids be allowed at school with basic cold symptoms? I think, yeah, this kind of speaks to kids are going to get sick. They're going to get sick. And we understand that. It's not always going to be related to COVID-19. And we have to be understanding of that, absolutely. So I think we're trusting parents to be in a spot that they can make the correct determination. We are trusting parents to know and understand that you have to be fever-free, without medication, and everything that goes along with it. And I think the thing that we're really trusting parents on is like, it's the balance is if you send somebody to school and they're on ibuprofen and so they don't have a fever, but then midday they do, and then that constitutes not only sending the child home, but then taking a look at the ramifications of what might happen after. It could be a struggle. And is it worth sending the student for the day, knowing that may end up triggering a 2-week quarantine? I would hope not, and I think we have to trust people to believe the same. I really do. Tammy asked about if the student walks to school, do they have to bring kids in to sign them off? Right now, we're doing that. What we're going to do is we're actually waterfalling that process with the summer school kids right now. And can I just tell you before we go any further, having kids on site is awesome. It's awesome. Just to see them is awesome. And they're in masks, yes. And they're, and it's restrictive, yes. But they're here, and I love seeing them. They're awesome. So, yeah. Hang on, Tammy. I'm sorry. So, in terms of bringing kids, we're hoping that there's a self-certify option, so they'd be able to walk themselves in. It's not that the parent would need to walk them in. That's not what we're looking to do. In terms of special services, Title I speech, OT, PT, those are still things that we are offering, obviously, and procedures, practices that we will do. We're trying to, if people are pulled out of a situation in their cohort group, we're just going to make sure, or try to make sure, that they pull to another consistent cohort group, so it's not a bunch of people coming from a bunch of different places. If we can make that cohort group and then the group that they pull to consistent on a regular basis, then we're going to do everything we can to do that. Yes, Jesse, you are correct. Yes. So, Diana, if the question is it going to be in alignment if they're here 2 days and virtual 3 days, the answer is yes. If the question is, are they going to be in alignment if they chose a full Cricut online experience, the answer is no. If a student is home but not super sick, will they be able to do their work for that day virtually? More than likely, as if we send work home for a student, this would not change that process. At this point, that wouldn't change that process. They might be able to do that, virtually, without too much of an issue. So, great question, Jeff, on the busing. Bottom line is, if you need to ride to school via bus, we're gonna make that happen the best that we can. If you are able to transport your student, that would really, really help us. And we're still waiting on guidance from the county regarding how many kids can ride on a bus at this point. So if we can get to like 50% capacity on a bus, we could be all right if some people are willing to transport. Right now, that number still is way too low, and we're still working with them on that. Tommy, if you're bringing another person's child, can we sign them in? Our hope is that would be done prior to them arriving, through somebody self-certifying that child is able to be at school. Unless, I don't know if you're talking about right now in summer school, as we bring people through, we would try to make every accommodation that we could in that regard. But when the school year starts, we hope that the parent will be able to self-certify before the student gets here. So if you're carpooling a couple kids, you could clearly bring a couple kids to school. And we would encourage carpooling at that point if we're trying to save transportation. At the same time, if we're working in the same, as long as it's a consistent group, because the more people that we're exposing, all the kids to, the larger the risk moving forward. Yeah, Katie, I'm sorry. The concern comes up. The question is about the question is about the online 100% online virtual classes not following the regular classes, and that really kind of comes down to, honestly, to I believe that's just an added piece to a group that's going to be on site with kids 5 days a week, and I think that it's just too much at this point, specifically to start the year. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They do not, Tommy. No. Thanks, Laura. We're trying. Thanks, Jenny. We're giving it a shot. Again, there are holes in the plan, and I'm sorry that that sometimes some of the answers aren't exactly what we're looking for. I apologize for that. Oh, hang on. Oh, that was just my light. Okay. Um, Sarah's asking about if we can't bus now, and don't have enough bus drivers, how are sports going to happen? Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know the answer. I really don't. I mean, busing is a huge issue when it comes to moving those kids. So my hope is that that gets taken care of, honestly, and we're going to continue to work with groups to hope that it does. I don't know the answer right now, but we're gonna still practice and see if we ever get to that place. Honestly, will non-school groups be allowed to use the school facility this year? Classroom, gym, meetings, or practices? We're still working on that. We'll have some guidance out for you soon, Melissa. When it comes to this is still a community facility, and we want to make sure that it's available. But at the same time, if we're in a lockdown situation with everybody that is here on a daily basis, that may limit the amount of groups that could come in from the outside. But we really hope that there's an opportunity for that. Specifically in a couple rooms maybe that we could designate. That you may not have as much flexibility with where you choose to go, but hopefully we can still provide what that looks like. And that would include obviously the fitness center and getting everybody back invested in there. And has anything been decided about music, band, and choir? Not specifically in terms of what it looks like right now, Heather, but I think we've been very clear with our administrative team and hopefully to our teachers that we do believe that music, band, choir, art, phy-ed are all part of the school experience, and we want them to continue to be part of the school experience. Could they look a little different? Absolutely, specifically to some of the guidelines that we have in terms of singing and playing instruments. But we believe that they're part of the programming that we provide here. That's part of school, and we want to continue to do that. Yeah, musical, we're still working on, Tammy. We're... For students who choose at the 612 would choose 100% online, will they be able to join their class later when things calm down with the online well, the second part of your question, will the online and in-class materials align? The answer is no. But at the same time, will they be allowed to join the group? Absolutely. We'll be able to change after grading periods if people choose to do so. If kids are in grad point, would they still able to do school sports and activities? Absolutely. Holly, we haven't determined who's in each group at this point. We're still working on that, but you'll get an email from me at about 7:30. That'll give you just a little bit of information in terms of what we're doing there, and ask you to contact the administrator in your school for that. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up here in just a couple minutes. If there's anything else that I can do for you, if there's any other questions that I can answer for you. I need something right there, don't I? I do. I need something. Next week, I'll have something right there. Something's got to be there. I need something else. Maybe I'll put that gold cricket sign up there. That'll look good. That'll look good, right? That'll look good. Good. I'll figure it out. All right, folks, I'm going to jump, but if you have any other questions, again, don't hesitate. Just keep asking. Keep asking. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning, if you emailed me and didn't get an answer, please resend it. I'm not trying to avoid any questions, but we just got a barrage of questions to start, and if I missed it, it's because I just was going through all of them. So please, if you didn't get your question answered, not if I answered your question you didn't like it, but if you didn't get the question answered, please make sure you resend the email or make the call again. I think I got back to everybody on the call. I do have one call to make about bus routes, but I think I got back to everybody else at this point. Yes, everybody else at this point. So keep asking, and we'll do the best that we can. Okay. All right, everybody. We hope you have a great rest of the week. We keep getting closer to it, and we're going to spend the next couple of weeks with our staff, making sure that they're prepared not only for when kids come back, but if in the event that something happens and we need to be out, we're going to be prepared for that too. We got everybody working, and our staff over the course of the next 2 weeks is going to be absolutely, totally invested in making sure that this is the best place for your students and for you as a family. So we're really looking forward to crafting what that really looks like, and can't thank you enough for your support and of the incredible people in this building that are working so hard to make sure that your kids have a great school experience. So email, call, whatever you need, we're here for you. We might not have the best answer for you or the answer that you're looking for, but we're going to have one, or we're going to find out where we can get it. Okay? All right, everybody. That's all we got. Have a great day. Go Crickets.